What's tummy time and why should all babies do it as soon as they possibly can? Well, I'll see you on the other side and let's get into it. So tummy time is tummy time. It's literally your newborn, your baby, your small child spending time on their belly on the floor. But why should you do it? Well, there's tons of reasons. There's really no shortage of reasons why your kid shouldn't be doing tummy time several times a day, especially as they get older. They should be doing it more and more often. But tummy time is all about gains. So I was a personal trainer for a long time, and you start with, little weights and simple movements, and as you progress your fitness over time, you're able to do bigger weights, go longer, build your endurance, etc. Well, it's the same thing for a baby, okay? So they start out of the womb, they don't have a whole lot of developed skills, okay? Tummy time is one of the best ways they can develop all their general physical skills, such as strength, endurance, stamina, balance, coordination, etc. So tummy time just built all those skills together. And it's just one simple skill, but if we're just talking about strength alone, it builds wrist strength, it builds tricep strength, it builds chest strength, shoulder strength, neck strength, of course, because they're moving their big old heads around, and of course back strength, hip flexor strength, like the list goes on and on. So it's a complete full body workout for a newborn and an infant to do tummy time. So if we look at just development of movements, tummy time is like the very first thing little children can be doing, okay? So it starts off with tummy time, and then months later, it'll evolve to them rolling over, but they gotta be practicing and building their foundation with their tummy time. So eventually, like our first daughter, I'll try to find a video of it. I have recorded it. She rolled over at six weeks. I think it was 6 weeks. It's ridiculous. She was tiny. She rolled over at 6 weeks, and that's a large part because of tummy time, and a large part because of genetics. That's just, she was tiny, super tiny, so she could manipulate her body very well. So after your baby gets accustomed to tummy time and then flipping over or rolling over from tummy to back and back to tummy, well, guess what? What's next from there? Well, it's crawling, just the next evolution. Then after crawling, they're pulling themselves up onto objects to a standing position. After that, guess what? They're walking. So it's just the natural progression of things. So if they're not starting with a good foundation of tummy time, they're really at a disadvantage. So besides physical improvements, it's also really good for independence. The baby is by themselves. You're not holding them, they're detached from you. Yes, of course I want you to be with them, to share the time with them. You can have your face down by them, it helps them just to be calm and collected, but building that independence is really, really important, even as a newborn. And you might not realize it as well, but tummy time will help with problem solving and cognitive development. They have this really complex brain and body that they're trying to meld together with physical movement for the first time. Well, the first time outside of the womb. So they're just trying to get the software to work with the hardware. That's their brain working with their body to figure out this crazy, crazy thing called human existence. And tummy time is a big part of that. So when should you start tummy time with your baby? Well, if your baby was born full term, they're healthy, there's nothing wrong with them, they don't have any pre-existing issues, you can start literally day one. There's no reason that they can't be on their tummies. We didn't start day one purposefully with any of our kids, but we did start probably within the first week. With baby Maggie here, we started on day 3 or 4 with her, and it's just she's right in line with her sisters with her capabilities. She can pick up her head. It's not that coordinated at this point in time, but that's the whole point, is that they start and they're very rough, they're shaky, they can't really move their body all that well, but over time they're able to. Starting really early is important. And how often should you do it? Well, you could do it several times a day. There's really no limit to how much they can be down there. Now, as a newborn, they will have their limitations. Most kids, most babies don't like being down there by themselves, right? They don't like being independent. They like being close to you at all times. So that's a part of it. And two, they don't know what to do down there. It's kind of a foreign world. At least 2 to 3 times a day is more than okay. And a minimum of 1 minute at a time for newborns. So what do I say? What is a newborn? Well, you could say like 0 to 1 month or so. Let's say each week, you can increase the duration that they're down there. Right now, I'm only doing maybe about a minute or so on average, but earlier today I had her on her tummy for 5 minutes and she wasn't crying. She did for a little bit, but she got over it and she was kind of exploring a little bit more. Early, often, and at least a minute at a time is really what you should be doing. And then as they progress, they get older, the more often you can do it and the more time they can spend there on the floor. So what should be down there with your little baby during tummy time? Well, you put them on a blanket. There's nothing wrong with that. Make sure that surface is clean and clear. You don't want anything just falling into their mouth or them hoovering in like a Cheerio or something from your other children. But you want high contrast objects. So the best case scenario would be white objects and black objects, because their vision is very poor for quite a few weeks and they can't see colors that well. They can see kind of shades. So if you have a fully dark thing, so like for example, this booklet here that I have, you have black and white polka dots and then you have like these black stripes here. Like this would be something that they could see and they can ponder upon it. And that's important to them. To us, it just looks like shapes in black and white. But these things to a newborn are super fascinating. The monkey's upside down. These are fascinating to them, and it helps them like use their brain in ways that like we just take for granted, right? Because this is, infant level education. Other soft toys, this is maybe a little advanced, but she could probably grasp it, put her little fingers in here, play with it a bit. This is just a teething ring. She's not growing teeth anytime soon, but this is very, there's lots of colors on here. Like I said, she probably can't see most of these colors, but this would be something good for maybe a little bit older children, maybe a few months old or older. And of course, don't forget yourself. Be down there with them. They're a little uncomfortable being alone by themselves on there. So, you can talk to them just hearing your voice. Some people say, yeah, you should be down there face to face with them. I like to give them more space. I like to try to build their independence as much as possible. Yes, be an eyesight of them. Make sure they're not like, they can't really get themselves into trouble unless you put something dangerous by them, right? So yes, you should be watching them, but you don't need to be right next to them. Right? A big part of this is for them to build independence, so giving them space. And if they are fussy and whining, that's normal. Use your voice. They can hear you just fine. Use your voice to reassure them and comfort them. And that's really all they really need, to be honest. So that sums it up for tummy time. Make sure to hit that like button for baby Maggie and her tummy time today. Definitely subscribe for more parenting tips. I'm just a dad, try to help other dads and moms out there who are new to the game. And for those parents also who are possibly not new to the game, or maybe it's their second kid, several years later, I'm just here to provide some assistance. So what tummy time practices do you like or do you employ with your own children? And maybe some practices that I didn't cover. I feel like I did an okay job covering most of the things that tummy time is not the most complex thing. It's just, it's an exercise that you need to, have your children do for their development as a person and a human being. But I'll see you guys in the comments below with all the tummy time thoughts, reflections, things of that nature. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.